Now let's talk about resolving conflicts. Yeah. Now resolving conflicts here, I'm talking about when you have a conflict with another person. Okay, something you don't agree on, you think it should be done this way, the other person thinks it should be done a different way. Okay, one of the first things you have to think about is how do you find common ground? Okay, how do you find common ground? Now, let's say your position is you think this certain thing should be done this way. The other person wants to do it this way. Now, if you are very insistent on it should be this way, the other person very insistent is this way, you will never meet, right? And so because you think this is wrong, he thinks this is wrong. You will never meet. So what you have to do is you have to take a step back and think about what is a common ground, right? What is a goal which both of you want to achieve, right? What is the bigger goal? And now let me give an example. Yeah. Now imagine at a company, this company is produces goods and sells to customers, right? So they're a manufacturer, so they have a warehouse, right? Now imagine one person is the warehouse manager, the other person is a sales manager. Okay, so one day the sales manager, he has some big clients, right? So he serves them. He brings one of the clients to the factory, to the warehouse, yeah, for a visit, right? And then this really impresses the client, right? And this is a long-time client, a big client, right? Now this sales manager sees and this client says, hey, actually this product I'm running low. I actually need to restock. I need to buy. I need to buy this batch that you have. Can you just deliver to me? Now the sales manager will say that, yes, of course. Let me arrange. I will do this. Right? From the sales manager's perspective, he wants to serve this customer well, and this is an order. This is one big batch of order. He's helping the company to make money. Of course, the sales manager wants to do that. Of course, he says yes. Now, but think about the warehouse manager. Okay. Now, the warehouse manager now comes up to the sales manager and says, hey, no. You cannot simply let the client take this batch because this batch just completed. We haven't done our QA yet. Right? We haven't done the inspection. So we don't know when. But by procedure, we should do this before we can release this. Also, we need to enter this into our system, right? So that we have our stock tracking must be correct. Yeah? Because if we don't have that, then there may be issues with, let's say, other sales managers when they order products for their customers, and then they think it's in stock, but it's not in stock. Then we get into all these problems. We are late in delivering to other clients and so on. Yeah. So the warehouse manager is very insistent. No, you cannot take it. Must do QA. Must enter the system. Must go through proper process. Okay. Now let me ask you. Please type in the chat box. Do you think the sales manager is correct or the warehouse manager is correct? If you think the sales manager is correct, type sales. If you think the warehouse manager is correct, type warehouse. Who do you think is correct? Now, the next one is when we are in a conflict, we need to analyze the unmet expectations. Okay, now this is a very important concept. When we ourselves, we have a conflict with another person, for us, we may have some expectations which are implicit that we might not even realize it ourselves, right? So analyzing the unmet expectations is not just about trying to analyze the other person. It is also about reflecting upon ourselves, right? Now, when somebody is unhappy or when we are unhappy, often it comes down to something that we expect. It should be like this, right? But it is not like this. So we are unhappy, right? Okay, now let me give this example. Okay, imagine, okay, let's say my parents at home, father and mother, okay, always have conflict because my mother always say to my father, hey, yeah, you never help with the housework one lah. Right? So, and always nag, and then sometimes they fight over this, right? And then my father will complain, yeah, hey, I already help do this, I do that. Yeah, so every weekend I mow the lawn, right? And then every week I already 3 times I vacuum the house, right? why you say I never help with the housework? Right? So there's a conflict. Yeah, but when you hear it like this, it's like both sides they have their point. Yeah, my mom complains, but my father actually has done it. Right? So then we try to understand deeper. So what is the unmet expectation? Now I may realize that actually, sometimes when my mother is cooking, then she gets very upset. Yeah, because she feels that when she's cooking, she's always the only person in the kitchen, very busy. Yeah, and then in the kitchen is very hot, right? So and my father is not helping her with the cooking. Yeah, so she feels it's something that she's doing alone. She gets no support, right? So that is something that frustrates her. And for her, when she communicates that, she says, "Yeah, your father never helped with the housework, never helped around the house, right?" So if that is the unmet expectation, now if my father is very smart, so he will pay attention when he sees my mother go to the kitchen to cook. Now my father don't know how to cook. Okay, but let's say my father is just very smart, go to the kitchen and say, "Hey, anything I can help." Okay, now that can make a big difference, right? Because my mother will feel the unmet expectation is that she's doing something alone and nobody is there to help her. Right? So if she feels somebody is there to help her, then she's probably happy already. So if my father simply goes and says, "Hey, anything I can help," right? So maybe my mother say, "Oh, actually, I'm cooking now. There are some dishes I need you to wash. Do the dishes for me, and then that's all. Go away, right? Don't kacau me when I'm cooking." Right? So and then maybe my father just needs to spend 5 minutes washing some of the dirty dishes, and then he can go away and read the newspaper or watch TV, right? Something as simple as that. Yeah, so sometimes when we want to resolve a conflict, it is about digging a bit deeper, understanding what are the unmet expectations. When we know what is the unmet expectations, we can assess first, is that something that is fair? Right? If it's something that is fair, that we can fulfill, right? Why not do it? Right? Now, or sometimes if it is something that is quite unfair. Now, just now we talked about communication, right? Yeah, if we find out something that's unfair, that's something that we can talk to other person. Right? So do you expect me to do this and this? Yeah. So and I can say, I don't think this is very fair to me. Right. So but at least when you really understand the underlying problem, the underlying expectation, that's when you can do something or you can discuss better. Yeah. So always look beyond the surface, what people are complaining about, what people are fighting about, and try to understand what is the unmet expectation. Okay. Now, this one I'm talking about the unmet expectation of the other person. Okay. Now, we also need to reflect ourselves, right? So now imagine, yeah, for me, let's say I have a in a relationship, okay, let's say boyfriend girlfriend. Yeah. So sometimes let's say I'm very sometimes I'm just very upset with my girlfriend, and then I feel she doesn't take care of me, yeah, or she doesn't give me face, for example, right? And when I feel so uncomfortable, I need to think, so why do I feel that way? Yeah, what is something uh, that I actually expect her to do so that I feel better? And then I need to reflect on myself. Is that expectation valid or not? Is that expectation fair to her or not? And so it's not just about us understanding other people's unmet expectations. We also need to look at our own unmet expectations and see whether is that something that's reasonable or not. Right? So now when in a conflict, when both parties can look at and understand these unmet expectations, that's when you can communicate better. And that's when sometimes when you understand what is actually needed, you can do, right? Because when you don't know what is it actually that you need to do, you can't do it, right? Because sometimes when people ask us to do something, just like the example with my mother asking my father to do housework, yeah, he's already doing it, but he's very frustrated because he does, but she's still unhappy, right? Yeah, so sometimes when we don't know what is the actual thing we need to do, of course we're not going to get any results. Okay, so this is how we use and understand the unmet expectations. All right. Okay, any questions so far? Okay, if good, can you give me a thumbs up? Or any questions you can put into the chat box. Okay, thank you, Crystal. Thank you, Esther.